things you consider. These are things that could happen, when you're away. So we have to, for the older kids, we have to prepare for the good, be respectful, know your man, but at the same time, you want to have fun. So let's be mindful of this. These are what type of people you hang yourself with. We have to have an emergency fund, just in case something happened, for myself and for them. That's very much so important. It's nothing like being away and you can't get there to handle business. If something tragic, or you just need to be there for support. So having an emergency fund set aside is very much so important for kids who are working age and as the parents themselves. We can move on to preparation.
Yeah, you already split into that, so it's progressing, it's moving with you. Preparation is a very dynamic topic. We'll try to be very brief about it. But the first step, returning home mentally and spiritually, which I'm preaching to the choir. Pretty much everybody in this room already has started their re-Africanization process mentally. A lot of us are seeking out traditional African spiritual systems, so I think we're already along that path. So I'll go into the visits, making the most of your visits. Again, I'm coming from a community standpoint, so in coming to Ghana as well as Kenya, I have communities there. Focusing on Kenya, I'll pass out some information on our NGO, African Paradise Natural Living Society. So we've been in Kenya as a community for 7 years. Our particular focus is organic agriculture, water borehole drilling, vegan cuisine and catering, positive music, sustainable education. So having a foundation of folks who are already there, I just said, what do you need help with? I'm an engineer, I'm coming from a construction background as well as oil and gas, and I have some other interests. So what are some of the things I can plug into on my way to Kenya? And my first trip was just kind of, touristy, going on safari, going to the beach, and just kind of getting a feel for Kenya, what the differences were from my West African experience. My subsequent trips, second trip, we're looking at housing. I took an opportunity to look at apartments, condos, housing communities, and decided, hey, you know what, I want to build my own house. I really want to utilize the land that we purchased as a collective and build a property that can be used again to alleviate some of the rent and to assist with developing the community before I came here. And the third trip actually was bringing over a few brothers who are like-minded spirit to say, look, are you also interested in working? Let me show you what we're doing. Now I'm kind of in the promotion phase. So I know I want to go to Kenya. I'm on my way, kind of getting the big ticket items out of the way, which is housing and transportation. One of the major challenges in Kenya is the traffic, in roads, infrastructure, just the sheer volume of people. And where we live as a community, we live along Mombasa Road, which literally connects the port of Mombasa to Nairobi. So it's a main artery for any travel as well as materials and assets coming into Kenya, not just for Kenya, but for neighboring countries, Tanzania, Uganda, South Sudan, etc. So the traffic can be quite horrendous. If you've ever complained about American traffic, you have not seen Kenya traffic. I mean, my friends live within 40 minutes of each other. Saturday night it can take 3 to 7 hours to drive that same distance, just given the sheer volume, because it's one lane up and one lane down. And in terms of what's happening to alleviate that, guess who? The Chinese are there to widen your road. So just now I'm thinking about, okay, what else can I do? And I'm a big believer in preparing for where I want to go. So I send money monthly. I say, guys, I'm going to Bahrain. I'm going to take this work opportunity, make a tax-free income. What can I do to continue to have a representation in Kenya as I prepare? I don't want to just get there and expect them to open the doors for me and I haven't contributed. So I'm always a big believer in putting into the pot on your way in. And then in terms of connections and networking, I mean, again, I had a foundation that already existed, but I do have an interest in continuing my career. So as I'm thinking about it, I'll start looking at opportunities in construction. There's a lot of construction, especially in the Metro Nairobi area, because they're expecting folks to come from the country to the city. Also, they're expecting expats to come back to Kenya. They're trying to prepare for an influx of foreigners coming in. So looking at making business connections as I'm getting closer to my exit date. And in terms of budgeting, my biggest thing was getting the house done. I'm like, if I can get housing completed, that's a big ticket item done. I mean, because one thing in terms of conversion rate, $1 US is 1,000 Kenyan shillings. And we're building, I have a model to show in a video at the end of the construction property on a quarter-acre of land included. Bill, total budget is about 100 to 110,000 US, but you cannot do that here. For land, construction, everything completed. So that's just my process. I'm still trying to figure out the direct business side, but I figure if I can get my big ticket items done, that will give me the opportunity to really see what the community needs as a collective, which is where a lot of our strength is coming from, and we'll talk about that further. And also lastly, health and wellness. It's imperative that we understand our status. Any pre-existing conditions, oral health, physical health, mental health, because of the fact that there's certain services that might not necessarily be as readily available, but also wanting to tie into a more natural way of living. To say, look, we might live, 20, 30 minutes out from a facility, but what can we use on the ground to help maintain our health, but also in doing research for those who have pensions or have prescriptions. There are expat insurance plans where you can actually pay a premium to be able to access certain health care in that particular country. So, also as a woman who hasn't had children yet, thinking about my options for maternity care, thinking about, when I do have a family. So, those are some of the thoughts I've been having on how to prepare in terms of health and wellness.
All right, I'll pick up on, just run right back through, making the most of visits. I particularly want to start by, one of the biggest issues some people have is the money to go. How much is the flight? How much is the flight? So this past year, I've been eyeballing flights nonstop. A major part of the preparation is learning how to reduce your spending. We here in America, we spend for no reason, and we spend on things that we really don't necessarily need. So making some of those minor adjustments will pay for your flight, and in addition to eyeballing, it's a hassle at times. But if you want to make it happen, you can really make it happen. But adjusting your spending is a major thing. We eat out a lot, so we have to adjust our spending. You have to get rid of some things that you don't like, or that you really do like. I love my motorcycle. I sold it yesterday. And the first call yesterday morning, I was shaking. I was not lying to you. I'm literally shaking. It's something that I felt like I love. You'll see. It's something that I love. It's my relaxation. But you're gonna have to make those adjustments, and things you feel like you love, you're gonna have to let them go. That's making the most of visits. This leads into being able to purchase your flights. He does this all the time. I'm used to it. Keeps me quiet. Making the most of visits. Go as often as you can. The more you go, the better opportunity you have to eat. Now, there's no doubt that there are people who have the trickery, who are out there to get you. But if you work with good spirit, you find you have excellent connections. One thing leads to another, and you're fine. And that's part of making the most of visits. One thing I want to stress: don't go with a superior American attitude. Please don't. They're our brothers and sisters. We're no better than them. They're no better than us. This is a move to help one another, to progress one another. That's part of making the most of your visits. So each visit should have a plan. I want to go and I want to look and see what's available. So my visit in August, I was looking to see who was available, who's selling land. What land is what land is there available? How much do I have to pay? What area may suit me best? My family's A-way. So initially I'm looking in the Volta region, but I just so happened to come up on something that was even better in Tafo. But these are things you do to make the most of your visits. My next visit here in January, I'm looking to purchase the land and move from there. In August, I'll be looking to clear the land and start building. So each visit, we should have a plan. And for those who don't have the finances right away, a little bit at a time, there's nothing wrong with that. A little bit at a time, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in that I mentioned that, connecting and networking. I think also I started off with budgeting, health and wellness. That's I would say do your research. There's some, I can't think of the name of this particular hospital in Ghana, but it was right behind where I was staying. But it's a Catholic, all natural hospital. I wish I could remember the name of it. I could turn around where I was staying in Ghazi and see it. I can get you all that name if you like. But things like that is very important. I'll wait before I continue.
Yes. So money, income, and business. I'll let Baba lead on this one. He has more experience than I do in terms of starting a business. As I mentioned before, I'd like to continue my career, but again, talking and speaking about Kenya, we'll talk about some of the existing businesses that we have on the ground. But in terms of starting a business, I think Baba has a little bit more experience than I do.
It's still a process for myself. I know earlier when I introduced myself, I mentioned the Association for Revitalizing the Interests and Concerns of African Americans. I know that's a mouthful. So in short, this is acronym. Africa is acronym, AFRICA. And what the purpose of that is simply put to link us over here with our African brothers and sisters over there, and address things that interest us. For instance, hygiene products, clothing, hair products, things that we need every day. Business. When I say business, we can say restaurants. I think a fella and I, Vidal, he lived here. He lived in Richmond for a while. His brother is Amon Vidal. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. But he lived here. He's in Ghana now. We're looking to open up what they call a drinking spot. There's small drinking spots all over Ghana. So it's just a place where the men or the women get together and have a drink or two. But as I started off with the association, in 2010, my wife and I, our first, actually her third, my second trip to Ethiopia, we wanted to begin to travel throughout Africa, purchase goods, and bring them back here for our people to see, touch, purchase, and experience. So that's what we're doing as far as businesses. Continuing your career. We have, several examples of folks continuing their career. There's a family in Botswana who the husband was IT. The wife was somewhere along the same nature. I can't recall. But in that, since Botswana was a growing society, they started an IT firm to help small businesses get their network together. In Ghana, right now, my main focus is to link our people here to there. As far as travel, those who want to travel, we find locations, we do proper residences to stay, and as far as helping you secure transportation, as well as sightseeing.
Alright, working collectively. Can you all hear us? I know we have a lot of background noise. Can you hear us in the back? I guess I'll take the mic. Okay, can you guys hear us? Yes?
Yeah, there's no one goes through the here, when it opens, just a problem.
Gotcha. Okay. Is it better if I use the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So in terms of working collectively to maximize resources, I spoke about the community model that I'm using to be able to repatriate. And in terms of our community businesses in Kenya, one of our major entryways into Kenya was a company called African Boreholes Initiative, where we at one time did physically drill boreholes for residential areas, schools, rural properties. And now we're transitioning that business more into a consulting firm, getting away from having to maintain all the overhead with the drilling rig and the workers. So we're working with other firms to do consulting on planning how to drill boreholes. Our second major business is ABI Organic. We are the organic leg of Amiran, which is one of the largest agricultural firms in East Africa. So we started out with small organic farming kits. So working with people at their private homes to design organic gardening spaces. And then we expanded into combining kits for commercial spaces. So now we have a 5-acre property that we operate for commercial market, for produce on the commercial market, as well as training in Chumbi, Kenya. We also use that space as a residential space, but it's currently in transition to become the Restoration Lodge, which is a new concept we're developing in junction with moving our residential space to Athi River, Kenya, which is midway between the Nairobi airport and Chumbi. So we have a few spaces in transition, as well as some pilot agricultural space and a place called Makendu. One thing about Kenya that I also love is just the variety in the climate. I mean, you have a cooler climate near Nairobi, but their winter is like 50 degrees. They got like no coats on, hats and scarves at 50 degrees, but that's their winter. Whereas Mombasa is more tropical by the Indian Ocean. And in Makendu, because of the warmer climate, we grow more fruits. We have a pilot location where we grow papaya and pomegranates and citrus. So we're working with experimenting with different types of agricultural spaces given the variety of the climates in Kenya. Also, we have an extension of our Soul Vegetarian organization. I'm sure you've been to Soul Veg Atlanta or maybe Everlasting Life DC. We're known as a community for our vegan food and catering. So we have a sister, Daniela, who's starting Soul Vegetarian Catering in Kenya. And Kenya is very new to the vegan concept, but I mean, it's taking off. We started out working with those kind of in the foreign community, tourist community, but now Kenyans are starting to wake up to the fact that they need to have a healthier diet. So we're working with our people to improve the quality of life there. We also have a brother, Ami, who goes by the name of the Veggie Man, doing positive music for our people. In Kenya, they love reggae, which I do too, so I'm like, we rocking with Kenya. So our brother does positive and uplifting music, dealing with just current cultural situations in Kenya, as well as just giving our people some positive samples to change the energy, change the vibe. So we're trying to touch all areas of life in terms of essential needs, with food, clean water, diet, wellness. We have a sister who also has a small business dealing with healing teas baskets. So she has her backyard garden. She grows produce and builds these beautiful baskets with her produce as well as local natural items, and using social media, using WhatsApp to really foster the conversation around health and wellness. Because we really wanted to have our businesses be something that's redemptive, not just to make money off of our people, but to provide our people with a higher standard of living and a better way of life. So we wanted all of our businesses to have that health component to it, regardless of what we were doing. So also in working with our building project, looking at housing, expanding into that market to be able to provide our people with sustainable housing. So those are some of the businesses that we have on the ground that we're working to develop. So I've always done this before. We wanted to talk about those who inspired us in our journey. We may be running out of time and we apologize. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna speed through a couple slides to show a quick video concerning currently Kenya. If anyone knows anything about the Kingdom of Yah, we use repatriation as an aspect of our liberation theology. We say, come out of America, come out of my people. That was a major concept for us. Initially, our elders left in 1967, and we've been standing strong in Israel for 50 years with other communities continent-wide. So I wanted to share a quick 2-minute video with what we're doing in Kenya. This is a photo from my last trip in a Maasai village, a beautiful sister and her child. And to the right was the actual view from my hotel to the beach of Mombasa, which is paradise. So I just wanted to share that, and I'll share a brief video really quickly. I'm not sure if we have audio, but... So you'll see a number of scenes around some of our visits and our businesses in Kenya.
Africa,
brief clip. A number of the clips you saw were related to our water borehole drilling. We dealt with drilling a borehole for a school, also dealing with drilling boreholes for orphanage properties. We also saw some information, a lot of us in the field. I mean, there's no culture without agriculture, so that's a main vein of what we do. And tying into the food as well. I mean, if you know anything about solvents, you know what I'm saying, we taking over hand. We bringing this idea of eating healthy and eating well, and also working on taking it to another level to say we have the American vegan experience, but how can we tie that into traditional Kenyan foods? How can we tie that into traditional African foods they're familiar with there? Also, you saw a little small clip of what did the CPR first aid training class in October. So just helping our people with emergency preparedness, as well as the Veggie Man, that was the song Africa Is My Home. The brother in the background, originally from Antigua, but him and his family had been in Kenya now for about 5 years. So just wanted to show a quick snippet, and I do have some flyers and information about African Paradise Natural Living Society, our NGO, if you wanted more information, if you'd like to contribute or to help, or to even visit Kenya. I mean, I go annually, so you're more than welcome to contact me if you'd like to come. I'd love to have an opportunity to show you on the ground. And the beautiful pictures of the giraffes. I actually got to go to the giraffe park this year and feed them. And it seems like it's out of the magazine, but those are pictures we actually took on safari. Just having the opportunity to be around nature and to experience that is just absolutely wonderful. So just wanted to share that in terms of who we know there that's inspired our current movement. So I'll let Baba speak about Ghana.
At Ghana, we have connection with Regasi Gardens Apartments. This is Brother Nana Kwame. He's been in Ghana since 1985. Well, he's been in Africa since 1985, and he started from plywood to a pretty nice compound where he has 2 apartment complexes, or at least 2 apartment buildings, his home, and a quarter for his workers. And what he does is he built a place for brothers and sisters who want to come back and get a start. He built this place for them, and the place is a very nice place. Is waiting on us. The irony is, when I was there in August, he said, I get plenty of Caucasians. I get Caucasians all the time. But I would love for my American and brothers and sisters in the diaspora to come and take advantage of this. And the prices are reasonable. I believe I stayed over 12 days for $200. You can't beat that. No, it's not the Hilton, no, it's not the Marriott, but it's a very beautiful place, a very nice area, growing area. When we first moved there, it was just his lot. But now it's waiting for us. If you want more information on that, I have a table downstairs. You can come down and talk to him, and we can move from there.
And in the interest of time, just so we can hear from you all, we'll take, we got room for one question, Bobby, can you?
Yeah, we over time.
I know we over time, y'all, sorry about that. But one question, one very important burning question.
How do you go about obtaining the dual citizenship? And do you have to identify which country in Africa you want to be citizen with to apply?
Does it actually exist?
Right, it's from what I understand in terms of Ghana, you have to have Ghanaian citizenship first before you can apply for dual. And from my understanding with the Year of Return 2019 initiative, things should get better. I mean, I have friends who recently received status last year. It was really something that an outgoing president was doing. It was like, fill out this form and you get citizenship. And it was about 35 of us who, in various time periods of repatriation, that actually got that. So in terms of Ghana, I would like to see improvements with this Year of Return initiative. And I'll let Baba speak about that more because he probably knows more. But in terms of Kenya, it was a very straightforward paperwork process, spending a certain amount of time in country, showing that you're actually contributing, which is again why we have the NGO. We put all of our businesses, all of our land, we're all members. So when I go for my citizenship, I can say I did a $100,000 US housing project. I'm not doing it as an individual, again, to give us more leverage. So in Kenya, you have to show a certain amount of contribution. spend, I think it's at least 5 years in country, and then you have an opportunity to pay your fees and to get your Kenyan passport. So again, we have 2 community members who were actually piloting through as NGO members to say, let's try it. Let's try it as a collective as opposed to individually going to get citizenship. But one of the reasons why I was looking at Kenya for me is because, again, it was a very straightforward process. But in terms of access to land, you can own land without citizenship in Kenya. Being able to purchase it and build, you don't have to have citizenship. So I could get ahead of it, before I went to get my status. So, and we're continuing to learn and grow, and things are continuing to develop as, things are changing socio-politically on the continent all the time. So, yes, sir.
What are their policies on, quote, self-defense? How do people protect themselves against whatever? I know here this is Virginia, this is land of the Second Amendment, but that's Kenya or Ghana, it's not Virginia.
Right.
So it's what do they do? What do they have in place? Because I know not speaking for me, but I know a lot of people, especially American-born Africans, we are very warrior-minded. So it's we're very averse to going someplace where we can't fight and defend ourselves the same way them is coming at us. You know what I'm saying?
I understand you completely. And that was a question that came up with our group that we took in October. Sister, can I get weapons when I get to Kenya? And I'm like, brother, first of all, calm down. Just relax a bit. We have to, that's part of our going home mentally and spiritually. We have to be on guard here all the time. The environment in Kenya was not the same. I mean, again, in Kenya, you might get taken in for an illegal turn to the police station, but you'll live. So learning how to understand the climate that you're in. We've had situations where we had to defend ourselves against intruders on our property, in particular our farmland. We handle it on our own. We handle it as a community to say, we'll physically defend ourselves, but then when the sun comes back up, we need to come together as a community and talk about what happened. So, to my understanding so far, it's really handled on a community level. There are police to call, but we try to handle it internally before, having to pull in outside authorities. But honestly, the communities we live in are suburban and also rural, so it's not a whole bunch of people to defend yourself against. You may need a dog to run your property in case you got some wild animals at night, but in terms of neighbors, we're some of the most peaceful people, and we really try to show them that we're here to contribute. So, for example, we're turning over one of our plats at the farm. We call the neighbor and say, look, your cow wants to graze, have them graze on our land and give us the free manure. And they're like, oh, okay, those are the people that we know. So building that sense of neighbor that we don't have here is also important in establishing your safety. So we're learning that you do things as a community. It's a different spirit, All right, well, thank you all for your time. I do have some handouts, and I can give you my information if you'd like to speak further. Thank you so much for your time.